Hi everyone, it's Lindsay. Welcome back for another video. Today I want to share with you just a handmade card. This is made with the new release from Clair stamps. So something really awesome about this stamp set that is being released today, it's called My Heart. I designed this, I drew this. It is available for sale in the Clair stamp shop. It is available in physical stamp form and also digital stamp form as well. Now I used the digital form today, so I went ahead and just printed off my images. However, I did keep them the same size they are in the stamp set, so if you want to buy the stamp set and remake this card, you can certainly do that. So I went ahead and printed off this heart, and I will be coloring this image in with my Prismacolor colored pencils and blending out with OMS. Now whenever you are coloring digital stamps with colored pencils, you can color with just plain colored pencils. You can color laser printed images. You can also color inkjet printed images. But if you want to use OMS Gamsol, you need to print off with a laser printer. I have a very cheap laser printer that just prints in black and white. That's all I need it for printing off digital images. I also have a color one. Colored ones are a little bit more expensive. I will leave both printers that I use linked down below in the description box. But the cheaper black and white one I have been using for years and I love it. Another great thing you can do with laser printed images are you can foil them with deco foil or the mink foils, which is awesome. You can also watercolor laser printed images. As long as your printer can handle watercolor paper, and that brother that I use can, then you're good to go. All you need to do is make sure that you change your settings when you're printing and make sure that you're printing with enough heat to set that toner, and it works great with watercolors. You can also color your laser printed images with alcohol markers. You don't have to worry about it drying or anything like that. Making sure the ink is set, it works perfectly right out of the gate. And I will have a video coming up shortly using digital stamps to do some foiling. I have a fun Easter card to share with you this week, so stay tuned for that as well. Now to color this heart, I am using several different colors here. For each color combination, I am using two different pencils, one darker and one lighter. I'm going darker towards the edges, then adding a little bit of that lighter color and blending out with my blending stumps. You definitely do not have to do this. You can just use one color and blend out. That's kind of the magic of using OMS or Gamsol to blend out your colors. You get many with just adding that blending solution in. Now I am taking my time to color this, making sure that I don't have two of the same color next to each other. I'm really making sure that everything's nice and spread out, and I'm going between several different colors. I also am using several different blending stumps to do this blending. That way I don't have to stand off in between each color or go through all one color, and then I end up with some spaces where maybe two blues are next to each other. So I like to buy my blending stumps in packs of several at once. That way I have several different to choose from, and I have several different sizes as well. So some larger ones to color larger images, and then some smaller ones to get into those tight little spaces. Now I also keep my OMS in a large container, and then I just dip out into a little glass dipping dish right up there in the top. And then that is what I dip my blending stumps into and blend out that way. I have a video all about using colored pencils and OMS. I will leave that linked in the top right hand corner. I basically share everything I know about the different kinds of colored pencils, the OMS blending them out, all that great stuff. The tools you're going to need, that's all included in that video. I will leave that linked up in the top right hand corner so you can learn all about this coloring technique. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this last little bit of coloring, and I also did print off the needle with the thread that's in the shape of a heart, and I also printed off the little spool of thread as well. So I have those all layered up, and then I just colored them very quickly. I also printed off a sentiment, and now I'm going to start fussy cutting. So the trick with fussy cutting, when fussy cutting any kind of image, is to turn the paper and not your scissors. That is going to help you so much. Also, getting rid of any extra paper around the edges is really going to save you a lot of work. So just get rid of that extra bulk so you're not dealing with it and it's getting in the way. And make sure you turn your paper, not your scissors, and that really helps me to get the best look whenever I'm fussy cutting. Also, for my sentiment, I'm going to create a little banner without having any die cutting involved. I'm just going to snip up from the end right in the center, and then from both corners I just cut in towards that center cut. So snipping right up the middle and then coming in from both corners and snipping in towards that middle cut, and that's going to give me a fishtail banner on both ends of my sentiment. Now the one final piece to this card is going to be a die cut. I'm using the zigzag rectangle die cut from Cat Scrappiness, and I'll just run that largest rectangle in the die set through my die cutting machine with heavyweight white cardstock. And onto that, I'm going to add a little bit of aquatini ink. So that aquatini matches the blue that I used in the heart, so it's going to connect everything together. I'm starting in the center and going out towards the edges, going lighter as I go towards the edges. To make sure I get the best blend, I'm using my Amazon makeup blending brushes to really get those edges really faded out and blended well. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some stenciling into this blending. I'm going to keep mine nice and plain and solid for a clean and simple look here. But adding that little bit of blue behind the heart and everything else that I'm going to be layering on top of this helps it pop out away from this background and keeps it separate from the background as well, so it doesn't just kind of fade all into it and mesh together. For this heart, I'm going to pop it up with dimensional adhesive and place it right in the center of that die cut. So a lot of the blue is going to be covered up, so I didn't really worry about blending the center too much, but you can see it peeking out around those edges, and it helps that heart pop off the cardstock. Then I'll go ahead and layer up my sentiment right on top in the center of that heart. I used another layer of dimensional adhesive. That's only going to end up being 2 layers on this card, so it's not too much. The rest will that background will be glued directly to the card base, so I'm not adding any extra bulk there. And finally, I'm going to add that little spool of thread in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm using 1 layer of foam where the heart, it lines up on the heart, and then 2 where it just lays onto the background. That way everything's nice and even and on an even layer. Finally, I added that background onto an A2 side folding card base that I'm using horizontally, and that finished off this card. I hope you guys enjoyed a look at this stamp set that I drew. I am so happy it's available for you guys to purchase. I will leave a link to these new stamp sets down below, as well to my blog where there is a big blog hop happening for the new release. There's also going to be a new stamp set tomorrow, so be sure to head on back and check it out as well. Happy crafting, everyone, and thanks so much for watching today.